Here again with another Walking Dead Daryl Dixon episode review video, as I was able to watch the episode early on the Amazon Prime AMC channel. But before I get into that, though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am at rewatching or watching The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case and you find out that you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And as many of you already know, I love The Walking Dead. I've reviewed every single episode of the main Walking Dead show on this channel. I'll put my review to The Walking Dead series finale, rest in peace, right here. With about 20 seconds left to go in the video, I reviewed every single episode of The Walking Dead Dead City. I'll put those reviews down there with about 20 seconds left. I've watched every single episode of Fear the Walking Dead. I don't think I might have reviewed one of those episodes. It's not a show that I review, but I do watch it. So if you want to discuss that, certainly you can. Follow me on Instagram at jdev27, JDEV27 if you want to talk The Walking Dead. Subscribe to the channel and smash that like button. But with all that in mind, this will be The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 1, Episode 4. The title of this episode is called Dame de Fer. And this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode, which the episode title means Eiffel Tower. And I watched this episode when it was available, about 3 o'clock in the morning, but I had to watch it twice because it's really hard with all the subtitles. And I'm sure I'm going to mispronounce some of these names. I do my best. I hate these subtitles. I hate these pronunciations. And I hope The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon doesn't stay in overseas too long. Go to Australia or somewhere I can pronounce the names a little bit easier. But I have a feeling they might be out of Europe maybe after next season. But anyway, we start off with Daryl trying to find his way out of this, I want to say underground tunnel, or I'm not exactly sure where he was, but that's what I think. And he gets to a chain fence where he can't go any further. And then he sees Laurent, and walkers are closing in on Laurent. But what happens here is Laurent just stands there and prays, and the walkers were led to believe don't touch him, and I don't think they did. Now, that's interesting. I have a feeling that that's not going to work every time, and eventually Laurent is going to get bitten and maybe turn, or maybe not. Who knows? This whole angle with him being born from a walker, we shall see. But anyway, Daryl has to go underwater and swim to get out, and while he's swimming underneath the water, he has to kill a couple of walkers underwater in the process, and he is able to get out. And Daryl is now walking through Paris on his own. Cadron questions the lady in Falou's group that recently had the loss that Laurent in the last episode had kind of connected with and comforted. She tells Cadron about the kid being special, and then Madame Genet also talks to her. And then Madame Genet hears this baby that continuously cries, so she holds the baby that was crying, and she's actually kind of able to stop the baby from crying. I thought she was going to kill the baby just because we hear that she's kind of a vicious character, but she did not. Now, Cadron tells Madame Genet that he'll get them both, meaning the American Daryl Dixon and Laurent. And Daryl runs into Antoine riding a bike with pigeons. He mentions Laurent being our hope, and Daryl's looking for Romagnol. Men approach in a vehicle, and Daryl and Antoine hide, and they leave Antoine's bike with the pigeons unattended of sorts. But when they're looking at the bike and they're taking the pigeons, Antoine gets their attention as he wants his pigeons, and then Antoine is actually shot by one of the men. So Daryl then runs over and kills both the men and attends to Antoine. He says, "Let the birds free." And then Daryl does let the pigeons, or birds, whatever you want to call them, free. And then Antoine dies. And then Isabel is back at her apartment, and Daryl joins her. She says she's okay and hugs Daryl, but she doesn't know where Laurent is. Anna tells Quinn Isabel is gone for good. She says sometimes women need a damn good reason to stay. We catch up with Laurent as he's walking through Paris alone. Daryl tells Isabel that this isn't all on you, as he said some shit back there and Laurent heard it. Paris kind of sucks. Or Paris kind of sucks in Daryl's words. Laurent goes to the Eiffel Tower, the title of the episode. There's like a blockade of sandbags in front of the Eiffel Tower. And then Laurent finds out that the Eiffel Tower is actually surrounded by walkers as he looks through a peephole and sees a bunch of walkers standing in front of the Eiffel Tower, which is, of course, guarded by the blockade of sandbags. And then the walkers move forward, knocking over the sandbags. Now, Daryl and Isabel arrive. They start fighting off walkers. Laurent hides under some some siding or something like that. But a walker ends up finding Laurent. And then one of Quinn's men, but I don't think we get his name in the episode, or I didn't catch it, shows up, knows exactly where Laurent is, and takes Laurent. Daryl does try to save Laurent, and he actually gets this man down, but the man was able to put Laurent in the car, and then the driver of the car drives away. So Daryl and Isabel end up, taking the man, and essentially he's their hostage, and they're questioning this individual. And Isabel tells him she's actually a nun. He's tired of all the bullshit about God and Jesus. By talking to him, she knows who has Laurent. We then see Laurent with Quinn. And Quinn asks Laurent, "Do you know who I am?" And Laurent says he was friends with his mom and Isabel, and he knows that he's his father. So Laurent puts things together, even though Isabel doesn't tell him things. And then Quinn tells Laurent that he saved him at the Eiffel Tower, and Laurent says he didn't see him there, and Quinn says, "That was me." So he obviously masterminded the rescue, I would say. And then he tells Laurent he's safe. He wants to take care of him and make up for lost time. He knows what Isabel used to be, a very bad girl. Isabel says, "You're not going to help us." So the person that they're having as a prisoner knows that Isabel at one point was a very bad individual, and he's not going to help. So Daryl starts punching this prisoner guy. I don't know if they said his name, but I didn't catch it. And tells him a story about a boy named Jimmy who used to be picked on all the time when he was growing up. And he had a piglet eventually. And his dad was like an alcoholic. And then one day his dad wanted to kill the piglet for food, essentially, and so they could eat it for dinner. So this Jimmy kid supposedly does kill the pig, but it was more like brutal than he intended. Like he wanted it to be slow or quick and not painful, but it was like slow and painful. And after that happened, nobody ever fucked with Jimmy anymore after he killed the piglet. And while this is happening, Daryl is stabbing this prisoner guy. And they want to go to Quinn's, but they can't go through the front door. Daryl tells Isabel to leave as he's going to kill the man. And Isabel says she'll stay. And then the man says that there's another way into Quinn's place, but it's dangerous. We don't need him to draw a map. We'll take him with. And then Daryl and Isabel, accompanied by their prisoner, meet up with Sylvie, Falou, Emile, and another, I can't remember the other female that they meet up with, but Falou's group. And eventually they'll meet up with Aslan, who will have a boat. And then Falou says, "We will fight as a unit. Go in as one, come back as one." And then Sylvie kisses Emile, if I'm saying that right. Isabel tells Daryl there's something that she wants to tell him, and Daryl says to tell me at the river. Sylvie asks Isabel about ever having romantic feelings for somebody. She says no, and then Sylvie mentions the kiss that she gave Emile, if I'm saying that right, or Emile. I don't think that's right. And then they meet up with Aslan, and Quinn meets with Madame Genet, who's with Cadron, or whatever his name is. Quinn pours her some whiskey. She wants to negotiate for the American. He wants a Japanese footbridge. He says that he doesn't have the boy, but he'll keep looking. But he does have Laurent. And then Madame Genet tells Cadron or Cadron, we can't let the child get out of Paris. Anna says you could get a lot more from Madame Genet than just some stupid painting. And he gives her a gun and says that she's going to keep Laurent safe. The prisoner leads Daryl to an underground way to get into Quinn's place. Falou and his crew open fire on the entrance to Quinn's place. Daryl lets the prisoner get eaten by walkers. Bon appetit. Emile is actually shot in the leg, but he's going to be fine. Daryl, at least for the moment, Daryl gets into Quinn's while everyone else is rushes to the entrance to hold off the attack. And Anna tells Laurent she hopes he gets to go home soon. And then Laurent tells Anna that she's nice, but she doesn't want people to know that she's nice. And then Daryl comes in. Anna has the gun pointed at Daryl, and then she says, just go. Quinn realizes the entrance was a fucking diversion. Daryl tackles Quinn on the catwalk thing as they meet up as Daryl and Laurent are trying to leave, and Quinn is trying to stop them from leaving. And Daryl was actually going to kill Quinn, but decided not to because Laurent was watching. He just punches him in the face and knocks him out as he's laying down. Falou and Emile meet back with Sylvie and Isabelle. Laurent and Daryl arrive as well. Isabelle thanks Daryl for bringing Laurent back, and then this is what Isabelle wanted to tell Daryl. I think this is what she wanted to tell him, that she's going to stay behind, as she wants to go back to Quinn. He's the only one that'll be able to let Laurent get out of the city or something like that, and she wants Daryl to take Laurent to the nest safely. Daryl says, I guess this is it. Isabelle says, I hope not. Laurent asks Isabelle, when will I get to see you again? And Isabelle says she'll do everything in her power to see him again. And then they have an emotional hug goodbye, and Sylvie also hugs Laurent. Daryl kind of taps Sylvie on the shoulder. Daryl and Laurent get on the boat with Aslan, and they leave as Isabelle, Sylvie, Emile, and Falou watch. Daryl and Laurent look at some nice scenery as they're going forward. And then Isabelle ends up returning to Quinn, and Anna isn't too happy about that. And then Daryl is looking at Laurent to end the episode. So I was really annoyed with all the subtitles in this episode. Like, I was going to do my review when I first watched the episode, when it was first available, but the subtitles were really slowing me down in this one. So I decided to just, watch the whole episode last night and then rewatch it while taking notes. That way I already know what's going to happen, so it'll be easier to, do it quickly, I should say, not quickler. So yeah, it was okay, but there was a lot of subtitles, a lot of long dialogue that I had to read the screen, and I guess I'm just not a fan of that. So I hope the show goes to like Australia or goes back to the United States so I know what they're saying a lot easier. But I'll give the episode an 8.0 out of 10. It's still good. It's getting on my nerves because I hate reading things. As far as the character of the episode, we already know Daryl's the character of every episode, but the standout characters in this episode, in my opinion, are going to be Falou with the speech that he gave with, we come as one, we leave as one, and then Isabelle had some good moments as well. Laurent obviously was good too, Sylvie good, Emile good, but I'm going to give the characters of the episode to Falou and Isabelle. So you've heard everything that I have to say, all my complaining that I've done. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of the Walking Dead universe, if you like the Daryl Dixon show, if you like Dead City, or if you like the main Walking Dead show, or if you even like Fear the Walking Dead and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, sorry, I didn't watch Walking Dead Walking Dead World Beyond, although I actually probably will soon, I just don't know when. But if you're a fan of the Walking Dead universe and you definitely want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button, share the video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, and your thoughts in general. Are you annoyed by the subtitles? You all probably like it a lot. I like it, but I'm annoyed with having to read and trying to figure out what they're saying. So that's just my opinion, but make sure you leave your comment about what your score of the episode is, whom your character of the episode would be, obviously Daryl, but anybody besides Daryl. And then remember, I'm going to put my Walking Dead series finale review right here. I'll put my Walking Dead, Dead City reviews right here. I'll put my Walking Dead playlist right here, and then something else over on the side, whatever. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.